Good evening. My name is Lennox Roberts, and I'm going to demonstrate a WAN, a wide area network between Trinidad and Tobago. So on the Trinidad side, you're going to see PCs 1 and PC 2. We're going to set that up on VLAN 10 on this switch. And on the same switch, we're going to set up PCs 3 and 4 on VLAN 20. From there, we're going to do a trunk connection between the switch to the router, and then we'll do a tunnel, a GRE tunnel from the Trinidad router to the Tobago router. On the Tobago side, we're going to set up PCs 5 and PC 6 on VLAN 10, as well as PC 7 and PC 8 on VLAN 20 on the Tobago side. And this again will lead to the switch. On the switch, we're going to set up the the trunk line between the switch and the router, as well as on the router, we're going to set up the tunnels. All right, we're going to do some sub interfaces as well, and we're going to get this we're going to get this network working, this network working. On the routers, we're going to set up serial ports. All right, so right now there is no configuration on any of the devices. So we're going to start with the Trinidad side. So we're going to start with the Trinidad side. We're going to set up the switch, and then from there we will move on to the Tobago side, set up the switch there, then the routers on both sides to get this thing running. So let's start with the configuration of the Trinidad switch. So I'm going to open it up. We're going to the command line interface, and I'm going to give myself some space here to start working. I normally like to start with the name of the device, and then from there start the configuration of the LANs and the gigabyte ports and so on. So let's jump right into this. All right, config. All right, from there, let's do the VLANs. So VLAN 10, yeah, name, VLAN 10. Nice. I'm using the up arrow here to recall the commands and then make changes to them, right? So that's VLAN 10 set up there. Now we want to set up VLAN 20. So I'll just change this to 20, right? Name, VLAN 20. All right, exit. Nice. Give myself some space there. Next, I want to set up so this is just the empty VLANs. Next, I want to set up the PCs on VLANs, right? So we're going to do PC1, PC2 on VLAN 10, all right? So to do this, we want to get the interface for the devices. And since it's both, I'm going to do a range FA 0/1 to 2, right? So this FA range here, what you're seeing is the actual line, the Ethernet line, FA01, and this one is FA02. Similarly, when we do the rest, we'd be looking at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 across the WAN network. So let's continue here. All right, so we have the range selected. Then we do switch port mode access. Let's move the mouse a little bit there. All right, and then we do switch port access, and here we do the VLAN. So we're putting it on VLAN 10. All right, no shutdown. Nice, some space to work. So that's VLAN 10 with the two PCs. Now I'm just going to set up PCs 3 and 4 on VLAN 20. All right. So we go back again to interface range. All right, but this time it's not 1 and 2, it's PCs 3 and 4. Nice. Then we do switch port mode access. Then we do switch port access. Okay, I could just take this. All right, and this will be VLAN 20. All right, great. No Shut down. All right, and you're going to see in the background things already happening right there. Nice. So let's carry on. So we want to go back again to interface. And this time it's G0/1 because we want to set up the gigabit port. Excuse me. All right, the gigabit port is what we want to set up next. So interface. So we have that. We want to do switch port. Sorry. Right, switch port mode. All right, so we're setting up the trunk port. So switch port mode trunk. Then from there, switch port trunk. So now we're saying what VLANs we want going across the trunk. All right. So switch port mode trunk and then switch port trunk allowed, and it's the two VLANs that we would have created. So it'll be VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. All right. Exit. All right. So now we want to do the same. We want to do the same on the Tobago switch. So we're finished with this. Let's come to the Tobago side. All right, command line interface. That up. Make some space. And we want to start off with the same set of commands, which is I want to change the name of the switch, and then from there do the VLANs. So here we go. And configure terminal, host name, Tobago. Let's go. Right, Tobago switch. Could exit that. So we're seeing it here on the left hand side, Tobago switch. All right. So let's get right into the VLANs. All right, enable config. All right. So VLAN 10 name 10. All right. So we go again. Shop VLAN 20 name VLAN 20. Excuse me. All right. Let's exit. All right, and the interface range again. In this case, we're doing PCs 5 and 6. We're going to use the interface range 5, the interface name 5 and 6, and then we'll do on VLAN 10, and then we'll do 7 and 8, FA07 and 8 on VLAN 20. All right, so interface range FA/0, and again this is 5 and 6. Yeah, don't let the thing messy up there, right? 5 on top there and 6. Nice. 0-5-6. Excuse me. All right, so I just made a typo there. It should be FA0, 5 and 6. Oh. Oh, and I spelled interface wrong. All right. So INT. There we go. Perfect. All right, interface 5 and 6. All right, switch port mode access, switch port access. Excuse me. All right, and we'll do VLAN 10 first. All right, a little space. So interface range. And this will be PC the LAN. So I keep saying PC, but it's not the PC name we're looking at, right? I just happen to have it configured an easy way to remember, right? So it'll be 7 and 8. Sorry, spelled interface wrong again there. INT. All right. Switch port mode access. All right, and then switch port access, and this will be VLAN 20. All right, and we do a no shutdown. Nice. Now we want to connect. We want to so you see it happening, something happening here. All right, and it'll turn green in a little bit. So now we want to configure the gigabit port. So our gigabit ports here. So we're going to do so we're going to set up our trunk with gigabit 01, right? So excuse me. So interface G 0/1. That's the interface here. Gigabit 0/1. Enter. All right. Switch port. And again, remember this is the trunk we're setting up, right? So switch port mode trunk. And then switch port trunk allowed. And just as before, we're saying allow VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. All right. Right. So we're good here for now. Let's close off this. And next, we want to take a look at setting up the Trinidad router, and then we will look at doing the Tobago router. All right, so with the Trinidad router, we're going to start off the same like what we did with the switches. We're going to give the router a name, and then from there, we're going to start working on the different interfaces and sub interfaces. So we pull up the command line interface, give myself some space there again, and let's start off with the name of the router. So, excuse me, enable config. All right, and host name, and we'll call this Trinidad. All right, this is Trinidad site. Nice. So we have that set up. Let's get out of here. And let's start off with let's enable that line. Let's bring that line up. So en in terminal. And you're gonna see here, we're gonna start off with the the Ethernet line 00. So this gigabit line, we want to change this from down to up. So we're gonna configure this first. So we're going to do interface, well, do int. All right, G for gigabit 0/0. Excuse me. All right, and then we just simply do a no shutdown. And you see the line has already changed to up, and you're going to see something happening here. And this will also change to up in a little bit. So let's continue in the meantime. All right, so we get back here. It's about 30 seconds or so before this should be up and running. All right. So let's start off with the sub interfaces. We're going to do a .10 and a .20 one. Now you could use any number, all right? But because we're doing VLANs 10 and 20, I just want to keep it in sync. So we're going to do .10 and a .20, right? For the encapsulation. So let's set up the sub interfaces. Oh, sorry, I need to get out of here. PC like you're gonna die. Hold on. All right, good. So, so the line is up. I just thought I'd mention that as we're here. All right, let's get out of here. So exit. All right, let's get back in. Excuse me. All right, so the sub interfaces. Let's do the first one. So configure terminal. All right, nice. Interface. Excuse me. What's going on there? So the interface we want to set up first is, let's do a G0/0 dot. All right, for the VLAN 10. There we go. All right. We do an encapsulation dot 1Q. And then we'll add a IP. Well, let's put in the 10 first for the let's put in the 10 first for the VLAN. All right, and now we're going to do, after the encapsulation, we're going to add an IP address. Let's do 10.1.10.1, and let's do a subnet of 255 a slash 24, 255.255.255.0. Excuse me, shut no shutdown. All right, let's do the one for VLAN 20. So I'm just going to pull back up the commands here. Um, interface, well, the sub interface, right? So we do 20. Nice. All right, let me just pull this down so you see nothing is happening at the top here just yet, right? But hold on, we'll get to it. All right. Um, so we just did the what we just did? We just did interface 20. Nice. Let's do encapsulation, and this will be 20. Then let's add an IP address, and I'm just changing the 10. So I'm just changing the 10 from here to 20. All right, everything else should be the same. All right, and then no shutdown. All right. I'm going to set up the WAN interface one time. All right, just to save time here, right? So let's jump back on interface, and this time the interface here is going to be this serial 030/3/0, right? Same serial on the Tobago. So we're going to change this to serial 0/3/0. All right, nice. We're going to add an IP address to it. So IP. Yeah, so we're going to add an IP address, and let's use 192.168.12.1. And we're going to use a slash 30 because we're thinking if it's a wide area network, we want to have a lot of computers connected to it, and a slash 24 just will be too little. So we're going to do a slash 30, right? So we'll do 255.255.255.252. Yeah, that 192.168.12.1, and then slash. All right, yeah, that could work. All right, we do a no shutdown. Oh, sorry, one word. All right, and then to finish us off, we want to add the IP routes right away. All right, so we want to create the GRE tunnel and add the IP routes one time on the router. So let's get into that here. So let's do an interface again. All right, so we'll do a tunnel 0 here. All right, and then we'll do an IP address. I have to think about the last one that I would have put in there. All right, so we'll do 10.10.10.1 and 255.255.255.252. All right, we'll do a tunnel source and also tunnel destination, right? So the source in this case will be the actual serial, and the destination will be the IP address for Tobago. All right. So let's do the serial here. So S0/3/0 as the tunnel source. Oh, sorry. S0. All right. So this is what it should be: S0/3/0, and we want to do a tunnel destination. All right, and we put an IP address 192.168.12.2. Yeah. All right, and let's do a no shutdown. Nice. Let's add our IP routes. All right, and this is the the route for the VLANs over the tunnel. So IP route, and let's add 10.2.10.0, 255.255.255.0, and repeat 10.10.10.2. Let me just see how we look in there. 10.2.10. Uh-huh. I have to. All right, yeah, okay. So that's for VLAN 10. And let's do it again for VLAN 20. So I'm just going to change this value here. All right, so we have 10.10.10.2. All right, and let's see. So we have 10.2.20.0. Yes. 10.2.20.0, 255 zeros, and then we add back 10. All right, yeah, we're looking good here. All right, so we can exit this. Nice. All right, so this is the Trinidad switch. Let's head over to the Tobago switch now. You know what? Before I head across to the Tobago switch, let me do DHCP one time. Let me just get this out of the way. Let's just get this out of the way. So we're gonna add DHCP so we don't have to give the machines individual IP addresses, right? So let's get into this and just wrap this up. All right, so configure. All right, and we want to do DHCP, so IP DHCP space pool, right? And we're going to set it up for VLAN 10 first. Nice. The network. That's VLAN 10. Nice. And then network. Keep making these little typos. All right. So the network, let me just make sure. All right, good. So the network here, we think about 10.1.10.1 slash 24 here. So 255. All right, then we do a default router. And that will be the same 10.1.10.1. Nice. And now IP DHCP excluded address. All right, I will just do the same 10.1.10.1 space 10.1.10.20. So we do 20, right? So we're excluding the ranges of between 1 to 20. So it should start from when DHCP is being given out, it should start from 21. All right. And so, all right. And then we exit this. All right. Now we want to set this up again, but for VLAN 20. All right. So can I just push up here? EN, configure terminal. All right, and we're going to start off again with the IP DHCP pool. All right, but this time it'll be for VLAN 20. Nice. All right, we want to do a network. Right, and all I'm doing here is I'm changing the 10 to 20. All right. Nice. So now that we have that for the network, the next thing is the default router. So again, I'm just pushing up. And we're going to just change it 10 to 20 for the default router. All right, looking good, looking good. Now from there, all we need to do now is put in our IP exclude DHCP excluded addresses, right? So let me see. I want to pass it. All right. So we're going to exclude because this is 20. All right. We're going to let me see 10. So this is 20. And just so that we don't get confused, I'll just put it as 30. So we're going to exclude the first 30 addresses, right? Nice. Let's exit that. All right. So let's just check to ensure that they are pulling DHCP on the left hand side. So PC1, we go to the um, not desktop here. It's on static. Let's just change that to DHCP and see what we see here. So it's successful. So PC1 is now 1021, which it should be because we did up to 20 in the exclusion, right? Let's check out PC2. And PC2 again on VLAN 10 was successful. All right. So let's go across now to VLAN 20 and let's see if we could get a DHCP address. It's on static. Let's pull DHCP. All right, successful. It goes to 31 because remember, we would have said this, we'd have excluded up to 30. All right, so great. And let's look at PC4, desktop configuration. All right, and DHCP was successful. And this is 32. So DHCP was successful, 32. So on the left-hand side, we are configured and we're good to go. Let's now go to the router on the Tobago side and look at the configurations to get all of these PCs at the bottom configured. All right, so let's get into the Tobago router. Command line interface. All right, again, as always, let me start off with the router name, and then from there we get into the interfaces, right? Let me also just bring this down because I really want you all to see when the site goes up or goes live, all right? So all greens on the Trinidad side, so except for the serial port here, but we're going to make sure that they're all on green before we conduct the inter-VLAN test, right? So let's get into here. So enable configure space T, right? Let me just move the mouse out of the way so you could not get confused there. All right, great. So we want to do the interface. So the first thing I'm going to do is the interface Ethernet 00. So let's get that up. Interface, not Ethernet, the gigabit, right? So gigabit 0/0. And just in case you didn't see where it was, so we're on this side here because we got the one on the Trinidad side up. So now we're going to get the one on Tobago side up. All right. So enter and no shut down. And you see it's already changed to green. All right. So we're seeing that happening here. And then this part will come up in a bit. All right. So let's continue. Nice. Oh wait, I I went ahead and I forgot to change the router name, but that's okay. That's okay. So let me go and let me go config t, and then let me do host name, right? Tobago. All right, sorry about that. Nice. All right, let me exit this. So Tobago in the house. All right, let's start off with the sub interfaces, same as before. .10 and .20 for the two VLANs that we're doing, and again, you could use any number. I'm just keeping it simple and structured for this lab, right? So en config terminal. Oh, what? Sorry. There we go. All right, and then from there we'll do interface. Interface, right? It's spelled again. All right, so I'm gonna do interface gigabit 0/0.10. All right. So you start seeing everything is looking good so far. 10. And then from there, we'll do encapsulation. NCAP SULATION dot DOT 1Q. And this is for VLAN 10. Yeah. Nice. Just add an IP address. Let's do 10.2.10.1. Let's do a 255.255.255.0. Nice. Let's do a no DOWN. All right, with some space. I'm just going to push up to get the commands back up. I'm going to do interface 20 now. All right, and when I say interface, at this point we should know it's a sub interface because of how I have that 0 dot before, right? So 0.0 blah blah blah. Yeah. All right. Want to do encapsulation. 20 in this case. All right, looking good. We want it on IP address. In this case, it's going to be 2.20. All right, because we did VLAN 10 already, right? There we go. Let's do a no shutdown here. Great. Let's make some space. Let's get the WAN up and running. So we want to do an interface. Yeah, interface S for the serial port. And again, it's going to be the 0/3/0. So we're going to come down here, 0/3/0. All right. And let's add an IP address. Sorry. IP address. Let's do 192.168.12.2. And we'll do the /30 here again. So 255.255.255.252. Are we looking good there? Yeah. Let's do a no shutdown. All right. So you start seeing here now. Once we did that no shutdown, it's green on this side. So the line is up. The line is up on this side. All right. So we're looking good. We're looking good. Everything looks green and lovely. All right. Now from here, we want to do the GRE tunnel. All right. Across the both sides. So we're going to do the GRE tunnel across here from Tobago to Trinidad. We're going to get that up. And then from there, after we do the tunnel, the GRE tunnel, we'll add the IP routes. All right. So let's get into here. So let's do interface. Interface. Yeah, and let's configure interface tunnel 0. All right, so tunnel 0. Let's add an IP address. Let's do 10.10.10.2. I think that should probably thing. With 255.255.255.252. Yeah. All right, let's do the same as we did before. Tunnel source and a destination, right? So T and tunnel source. And this would be S. And remember, the tunnel source would be the actual serial port, and then the destination, in this case, Trinidad, would be the IP address. So we're just doing it in the opposite, right? So the tunnel source would be S 0/3/0. All right, and tunnel destination. NET. Right, would be 192.168.12.1. All right, and also we want to do like a no shut. All right, and we can exit here. Let's do our IP route, IPROUTE. And it's just which VLANs get to go across the tunnel, right? So our IP route would be 10.1.10.0 and then 255.255. 255.255.255.0, and we're going to send across 10 dot 10 dot 10.1. Yeah, and then right, so we have that there. Now let's do 10.20. Yeah, dot 0 5 10.1. All right. Okay, let's exit that. And let's also get our DHCP server up and running. All right, so let's get in here. All right, config. All right, I'm going to get straight into our IP, right? DHCP pool. Nice, and then we're going to start off with VLAN 10. VLAN 10. Nice. From there, we're going to do network. And our network for VLAN 10 would be 10.2.10.1 /24 255.255.255.0. All right, we're going to do our default space, our default router, which is just going to be 10.2.10.1. Yeah, right. And then our IP, DHCP XC, excluded dash router, not router, excluded address. Right. And that should be 10.2.10.1 and 10.2.10.20. All right, and it's just the range that we excluded from the thing. All right, so 10.2.20. All right, and that should be it for that. So let's exit that. All right, and then let's get back into configuring terminal, because that was for VLAN 10. So we want to look at VLAN 20 now. So configure terminal, and now we want to set up the DHCP pool, right, for VLAN 20. Nice. Let's do a network, and it's going to change this from 10 to 20. So 10 to 21, and then 255s. Lovely. All right, so once we have the network set up now we can move on to doing the default router. So let's see where our command is for that. Oh, default router. And we're just going to add in the 20 after the 2, because again, it's for VLAN 20, 2.1, right? And now our excluded addresses. So we'll do 20.1, I think, yeah, 20.1. And we will do 20 here. That's for VLAN 10. And then we just buff up the excluded range about 30. All right, there we go. Let's exit here. All right, if all works well, we should be able to pull DHCP on this side, right? So on PC5, which is on VLAN 10, let's go to desktop here, DHCP, and see if, oh yes, lovely, 21. All right, loving it. Let's come to PC6, desktop, DHCP. Yes, 22. All right, and again, it's 1022 because it's VLAN 10, right? So let's close this off. PC7, desktop, DHCP. This should be successful as well, and it should be 2031 because remember we went up to 30 in our exclusion of DHCP, right? And then PC8, desktop, config, DHCP. Requesting, it's successful. I'll just to be devil's advocate, I want to take it off again and put it on again and just see if we still get the same. All right, so 2032. All right, so the next step now is to test pinging data from PC1 to PC8, which is VLAN 20, and VLAN 10 on between Trinidad and Tobago. All right, so let's do a test. So this IP address is 20.32. So let me just, sorry, I have a memory problem at times. So let me just write this down. So this is 10.2.20.32. All right. So let's see if we get a ping to that. So command prompt, pin ping. I'm doing 10.2.20.32. So the first one, because the first time should time out. All right, but the rest should, there we go. Perfect. So we have inter VLAN communication here. All right, nice, lovely replies. Let me also, who is this guy? He would be 31. So let's see if we get 31 and then we'll just do it backwards, right? 31. So, um, so let's ping 31. Again, the first one should time out because it's the first time we're making connection. All right, but now we have a reply. And if I do it a second time, we all should be replying. There we go. All right, last but not least, let's do it the opposite way now. So let me just grab the IP address of this guy, 1021. So that'll be 10.1.10.21. All right, so let's just do it. And I mean, probably just for things sake, this VLAN 20 here, you are 20.31. All right, so 20.31. Let's see if we get a thing from that. So it's going to be 10, no, 20.31. Yeah. All right, so on the so VLAN 10 is communicating with VLAN 20, right? So let's look at doing it in the opposite way now. So PC8. All right, so you ping 10.1.10.21. And there we go. So we have a successful test of a WAN connection between Trinidad and Tobago. What I wanted to mention before was that on the router, all right, on the physical router, I am using a serial connection. So I added this HWIC-T2, and the reason for that is because it simulates a WAN interface, all right, in Packet Tracer. So you'd have to add that in first on all of the routers. You'd have to add this serial port before you're able to make this type of WAN connection. And this brings me to the end. Yeah, I think this is about it. So let's just take a minute to, just admire this beauty. All right. Okay. No. Before we go, let's do one more thing. So let's do a simulation, and let's send a mail from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20. All right, and let's watch what happens with that. So the mail is leaving PC1. It's hitting the switch. From the switch, it's gonna go up through the trunk line. It's important that I say trunk. And from here, it goes to the router, and then from the router, it goes across to the island of Tobago. So it hits that switch, then it hits that router, then it hits the switch through the trunk line, and then it goes to the correct PC, which is PC8. There we go. And of course, it's going to go back to its source. So it has reached its destination, and now it's going back to its source. And if it works successfully on PC1, we should see a tick when that envelope hits. All right, so wide area network working. It comes back down to our switch. And then from there, you will see it's going to come back down to PC1 with a nice little tick. So it was successful and everything worked well. And this brings me to the end of my simulation.